Hey, come see us on tour in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Get your tickets at jimmydore.com. That's where they're the most affordable. To me, this was the most important part of the speech. To me. Here's the most important part of the speech. Here we go.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
That's weird that he got that done.
Yeah.
And it's the same deal that they had in place since December of 2023.
Yeah, right.
It's the same deal they've had. They've had that deal for over a year. And it took Donald Trump, real estate man, game show host, former president, to make that deal happen. And who did he send over? And who did he send over there? He didn't send somebody from the deep state. He sent a brass knuckle brawler, real estate guy from New York. That's the guy who made that deal happen. Hey, we can't meet with you at Shabbat. I don't give an F about your Shabbat. Either your signature or your brain's going to be on this contract.
Well, because the great crystal ball, as you know, I was watching her suggest that was some kind of, remember Reagan's October surprise with the Iran hot? She tried to make it like it's that,
yeah,
which is a little conspiracy.
Every stupid conspiracy, pro-Democrat conspiracy you could think of, crystal ball and Malibu Ken, Kyle Kalinske, are going to repeat it.
Okay, well, I think it boils down to Trump. You know, he doesn't do drugs and they didn't have anything on him. He's not blackmailable. So there's a reason. I think lots of people wanted to stop doing BB's dry cleaning, for example.
Yeah.
But they can't.
Right.
And so that's why I think that happened, because they don't have nothing on him. That's my little cuckoo theory. Because it is the same deal that's been around. Why couldn't you make it happen? Well, because I don't want certain things to come out. That's why.
Well, because I think it's because the guy who was actually running our country in the foreign policy for real was Anthony Blinken. Blinken. It wasn't Joe Biden. Joe Biden, as the Speaker Mike Johnson revealed just this last week, he didn't even know what he was signing or what he was doing.
What about the other Biden?
So, what about the tall Biden?
What about the taller Biden? Yeah.
So I don't think so Anthony Blinken, who's a Zionist first and an American second, who's he's related to Ghislaine Maxwell's father and stuff like.
He's related to, because he went to the Dalton school, the famed Dalton school.
So he's got so many connections to the Mossad, and so that's why that was happening, because it was Anthony Blinken that was running our policy and not Joe Biden. Okay. Here's another great this is the second part of the greatest moment in his speech, and I think the greatest moment in an inaugural speech that I've heard since John F. Kennedy. Here we go.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Whoa, that's hippie radical talk.
Wow, what a hippie. What a crazy peacenik, smelly, barefoot, patchouli oil wearing knucklehead.
Start the preemptive pardons, because we're in crazy town.
This is crazy town. Okay, so here's what I think is also. This may be the second. This part really is good. Let's watch.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
What? You mean the executive branch of the United States government wasn't already committed to free speech? He has to sign that. Oh no, that's right. They weren't. That's right. That's right. They were trying. They were pressuring social media companies to make sure that they censored people. Let's listen to that again.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
You wouldn't think that the president would have to say something like that. But no, they do. He does. Because we've been living in a dictator. So the hallmark of dictators is censorship. And they always say they're doing it to protect you. That's exactly what they said this time. We have to stop misinformation. Because misinformation, people will die from misinformation. You know what?
Yeah, no, I remember Iraq. I remember.
Yeah.
I can't believe people have the nerve to talk about China. Well, hey, that guy was a China apologist.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you live and you know you have less freedoms in China? I've been there. Your day-to-day freedoms are so much less than China. I didn't want that to be how it is, but that's what it is.
So I think that may be the second most important part of the speech. Here we go.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about.
Yep. So realize what he's saying. That's the president of the United States saying that, hey, the justice system, the Justice Department was weaponized against me. First time in history we've ever done something like that. Prosecuted by and they couldn't find a crime.
Yeah.
They couldn't find a crime.
I'm surprised by that most of all.
They couldn't find a crime to prosecute him of. They had all BS garbage crime. He mishandled classified documents. He's the president of the United States. He can unclassify any document he wants. He's the guy who does that.
By the way, you got too many of them.
They found a box of classified documents in Joe Biden's garage next to his Corvette when he was vice president. He didn't have the authority to declassify them, and they didn't prosecute him. Hillary Clinton, top secret emails on her private server, didn't prosecute her. Donald Trump, we got to get him. We're gonna raid his house. We're gonna raid his house.
That's right. Go through all Melania's stuff in front of her. Let him know who's boss. I don't blame Hillary. She's just a grandma. A lot of grandmas keep a full server in their bathroom and burn it with acid. So that
I'm gonna and then they had to charge him with the normal real estate practices, elevating the price of your property. He was
charged with first-degree normal real estate practices.
So to me, that was the greatest threat to our democracy. They did it right out in the open, and nobody would say anything about it. Cornel West was cool with it when he came on my show. You think he would stand up and say something? Didn't say a word. Didn't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say a word. Called me a Trumper because I thought that was a bad idea, that we would set a precedent of prosecuting former presidents because we were afraid he was going to win again.
Yeah, prosecute them for the crimes they do. You know, like the mass murders that have been unaccounted for.
That's right.
That we just glossed over and call it the post-World War II rules-based order?
The rules-based order.
Not law, because we are above the law.
So to me, So to me, that was the darkest moment politically in American history, maybe since the Civil War. That's the darkest moment when the media, the establishment in both parties, and every Democrat in the country went along with prosecuting and weaponizing the Justice Department and using it as a weapon, political weapon.
Yeah. I would say it's the darkest unclassified moment in America.
Yeah, the darkest unclassified moment. Yeah.
We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life.
Sounds like, to me, this is Martin Luther King Day. That sounds like a paraphrasing of Martin Luther King. I have a
Right.
dream.
Yeah.
When people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Yeah, that's why the FBI and CIA killed him.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember? And then they have the balls to put up Martin Luther King Day recruiting ads.
That people will be judged by their merit, not by their gender or their sexual identity.
We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
So, that sounds like Martin Luther King.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
I was going to make a joke about that. Are they going to tell us what a woman is?
When is somebody going to tell me what a woman is?
Are we having disclosure, as they say?
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
We already saw that part. And there's these guys. Oh, they're not going to show
And
it?
I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty.
So-
it's going to end immediately.
So not only medical experiments, but he means social experiments. Like they've been doing all the woke stuff inside the military, too.
Hey, can we get that also, that we don't have to be part of that?
I hope so.
I'm good.
Can
Just the military?
we do that in
Our
Hollywood?
armed forces will be free to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
Are they going to invade the CIA?
Right? I think they should. His hair looks good, I got to say. For a guy who's 78 or whatever. Hair looks good.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
When's the last time you heard a president say something like that? I can't remember.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed...
So when was the last time you heard a president say that? I want to be known as a peacemaker.
Before they get elected, usually. It's all said before they're elected, and then right after it goes right out the window with maybe there's a bad terror attack.
Remember they gave Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize, and then he went on to bomb Libya, overthrow their their leader. Then he went on
already done a bunch of violent. At the time, the joke I made was Jay-Z should also interrupt his speech because Beyonce technically deserves that more than him as well.
Yeah,
like a Grammy. She also deserved the Peace Prize more than Obama. You could argue she did more for peace than he did.
Bro, they gave Barack Obama. That's how you know the Nobel Prizes are just political garbage. They gave Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize. He immediately ramped up the war in Afghanistan, started bombing Libya, turned it into a failed state with open slave markets. Started bombing Syria, put a hit out on Osama bin Laden, then dropped more bombs. And then George W. Bush, they dropped so many bombs they ran out of bombs.
Yeah, all awards are bullshit. You can have my Emmys. I told you could have them. All that shit is a sweater on a dog. That's what you are.
Yeah.
You like your sweater? You're so cute.
I like sweaters on dogs.
So I like sweaters on dogs. I think that's it. I think that's to me that was the highlight. Is there any more here, really?
The hostages in the Middle East are
So
coming back home.
the hostages are back. Okay.
To their families.
Again, he was able to stop a genocide. Now, some people say that that's all a ruse and that Bibi's going to start the war up again. I think there's going to be some stuff happen that we don't like Trump's going to maybe try to deport 1 million Palestinians to another country. He might give the West Bank away. There might be other things he does, but he stopped a genocide. I think the
East Palestinians or the ones from over there?
No, the actual.
Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a
Why do I find that hilarious?
Because because all the other things that are like that you should care about, a bunch of people are only going to care about that.
That's it. Yeah.
That's why.
I
on
think
SNL, they're going to be like, he's going to say
that's
the
like
Gulf of America. They're going to be mad.
It's like a joke. But he's doing. He's. I don't know. Can you do that? I thought I didn't know that the president got to name bodies of water, and we're gonna rename the Pacific to Melania.
Well, everybody doesn't observe it around the world. You know, Turkey's not called Turkey anymore. It's called Turkiya.
Right.
And India was never called that. It was called Bharat. And Britain just said, oh, they're by the Indus River, so they're Indians. So really, no one's even using that name for real.
Oh,
I don't see
really?
why American Indians can't. Yeah. It's a endonermic and entonermic. I can't remember the name, but there's names within a country you have for stuff that you use, and there's the ones other countries use for you. So India is not their name. Turkey is not. I mean, Turkey, what lateral move? But that happens all the time.
I'm not Jimmy anymore. I'm Jimmy. Very close. Yeah. But it's like
Jimmy.
It's like you're splitting hairs. There we go.
President William McKinley to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs.
I don't know what happened with Mount McKinley. Do you know?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. They took him off Mount McKinley. I don't know what he's talking about.
He wasn't even on it. So
I don't know what he's talking about. We're gonna look it up. Watch this.
President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Wow. So I didn't know. I didn't know about that either.
Yeah.
That China's been China. So what? Did Panama lease the Panama Canal to China or something?
Well, when did we give Panama back to
Jimmy Carter? Jimmy Carter gave the Panama Canal back, right?
Okay, because shortly after that is when we got into business with Noriega to smuggle cocaine into America, and then Noriega got greedy and they had to crack down on him. Remember that?
Yeah. Yes. Is China?
So I bet it had something to do with smuggling
Panama
cocaine
Canal?
into America. I'll bet you, if I had to guess what it had to do with.
Right. This one says the Panamanian government took control of the canal on December 31st, 1999.
Oh, then that's part of the yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was Jimmy Carter who signed the deal to give it to them, and that it would happen in 1999. I think it was. Did Jimmy Carter sign the Panama Canal thing? Yes, he signed the Panama Canal Treaty and Neutrality Treaty on September 7th, 1977. So then I think it was like, okay, you'll have full control of it in 1999. Has Panama given the canal to China? It's currently under the control of the Panamanian government. China has won numerous bids to manage specific sections of the canal's ports since 1999. So yeah, so just what I said. So they're like leasing. I'm going to guess the most important parts of the canal.
Why would we have allowed
China.
that? Why did they allow that? See, that's the thing that's crazy is like you had China Gate before 9/11, which was right around 1999, right? That's when A lot of technology was leaked to China on purpose, I think, obviously. And then 9/11 happened. We didn't talk about it no more. And then, China's our adversary, but like, there must be an entire contingent that's doing stuff with China within the government that, like that Panama Canal thing's so weird and out of the blue to me. I just didn't know about it, but that's very strange. So that must be something very strategic.
I'll just want to say one more thing about what the section that I said was the most important part of his speech, where he said he wanted peace.
Yeah.
And he wanted to end the wars and not get into wars. The problem is that he is not going to reduce the Pentagon budget. So when Trump was president the first time, they kept saying he was working with Russia and he was a traitor to our country, but he was the commander-in-chief of our military. And Congress and Trump increased the military budget when Trump was president, $132 billion a year. That's not just one time. That's every year in perpetuity. So over 10 years, that's over $1 trillion extra.
Right.
Instead of $1 trillion being invested in our country, that's another $1 trillion going to the pockets of the war machine that we don't need to do.
Yeah.
So while he was president, while he was mostly non-interventionist, he did explode the military budget another $132 billion a year. A year. So every year, imagine what $132 billion could do. They could rebuild Lahaina for $5 billion. $5 billion. They could rebuild Lahaina for, am I saying that correctly?
Lahaina
Yeah.
For $5 billion. They
want to rebuild it. They just want the original owners off it.
That's right. That's right.
They are going to rebuild it. They just want to steal it from the people that live there. That's really the.
They could rebuild the Palisades and the Altadena for a couple $100 billion.
Look, for anything that he said to work out, okay. Number one, the president does not have the highest top secret clearance in the land. I don't know if people don't know that. The president's only there 48 years. So there's people he's need to know to a certain group of people, in case you wonder what a deep state is. So to me, that means the president's not in charge, because what is your vote count if he don't get to know about certain things? So for this to count, he has to be waging a war on whoever that is. Now, my hopes are that he is, but if he isn't, then there's no way any of these things are going to happen that he promised.
So all I'm saying is, I believe he'll probably end the Ukraine war. He's already got a ceasefire in Israel. Hopefully he doesn't start a war with Iran. Hopefully he just gets into an economic war with China, not a hot war. He already made peace with North Korea. I think he's a guy who likes to make deals, and that's why I predicted that he would enforce a deal in Gaza, and he did.
Yeah.
So,
in fairness, anyone could have, because we can just stop giving them money whenever we want it if we wanted to. But some people can't because they're blackmailed. Epstein, remember Epstein? There was a reason why they did Epstein. There was a reason why they kept him out of prison. There was a reason why he did that. Reason why he was hanging out with princes and presidents and ex-presidents. Couldn't be more obvious.
Yeah, couldn't be more obvious. But anyway, so I just want if he would go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to the military budget when I got into office in 2016 or in 2017. Let's go back to that. And then we're going to take that extra $132 billion and we're going to spend it in America. We're going to spend it on schools and fire hydrants, and we're going to build reservoirs, and we're going to build dams, and we're going to build schools, and we're going to build mental hospitals. So the mental people, the people who are mentally ill on the street will have somewhere to go. We're going to staff them. We're going to build housing for homeless people. We're going to take that $132 billion a year. We could do all those things. But because we're in late stage empire, because our country is so corrupt, that we can't do any of those things. But we can
That's why China's going to hand us her ass.
That's right.
Because we didn't do that. China has flying cars now. You know the thing that's a cliche that they promised? China has that. And so that's why.
China has high-speed rail. We don't have it here.
And when their politicians
and high-speed rail
corrupt.
High-speed rail isn't like a good-looking sweater or a gold chain. High-speed rail, just like the interstate highway system, is a boom to economies.
Of course.
And so the fact that we don't have that here, it's because of the airline lobby, and there just doesn't seem to be a high-speed rail lobby.
Oh, I thought it was the automobile thing, but it was actually the airline lobby. That probably takes a village.
Yeah. So if he could do something like that, that would make him, then they would put him on Mount Rushmore. Or if he gave people health care.
China, when you lobby to try to keep people from getting a high-speed rail because you work in, the airlines, for example, they shoot you in the head. Petty crime is actually not that bad of a prison time because actual idiot expats have been arrested mugging people. The real breaking rocks hard time is like what Hillary would, when they say lock her up, but she was never going to get real time. China does that. You would be locked up.
So our country, so we'll see if Donald Trump, I mean, he's a billionaire. He's surrounded by billionaires. Will he be able to do something like that? I don't think so. He's not even talking about it. He didn't say, hey, we're going to cut the military budget. Let's go back to where it was when I got in office in 2017. They're not going to do that. But this is how empires end. This is why our country is being hollowed out. The middle class is being. Imagine if they invested $132 billion a year in the United States and gave people jobs, building hospitals, building mental wards, building and staffing them.
How about providing elder care?
How about providing elder care? How about building high-speed rail? How about building schools? How about building reservoirs? How about building dams? How about expanding fire departments? All that kind of stuff. That's the kind of, that's where we should, and then you'd have a middle class again.
And how about stop lying that people don't want the jobs and what they want is to not be underpaid for a shitty job. That's right. Americans don't want to do. Chappelle had a great set of monologue on SNL, except for the dumb part he said about taking jobs Americans don't want. That's a rich guy thing to say.
That is.
Americans don't want to have to compete with the third world. And why would we have to?
There are no jobs that Americans aren't willing to do. There are men who are climb underneath in sewers. There's guys that will go 70 stories in the high and walk out of a beam. There's guys who will stand on top of hot tar roofs in 100-degree heat and work all day. There aren't jobs in America that Americans aren't willing to do. They aren't willing to do them for third world slave wages.
That's all.
And when you hear someone say that, that's either a rich guy saying that Americans don't want their jobs, Americans aren't willing to do, or it's a worker whose mind has been, as they say on Do Dissonance, they have the peasant-like thinking. They've been propagandized to think like a peasant.
Well, when they lose their shit, then they learn real quick, don't they?
The average person's finding it difficult to pay expenses every month, and in most cases, there's nothing left over to cover any extras. Most aren't getting a big raise. Expenses are up, and it's very hard to manage without grabbing for your credit cards. So if you're a homeowner and you're frustrated with that cycle, I need you to take a 10-minute, no-obligation call today to my friends at American Financing. And if you're constantly carrying a credit card balance each and every month with a rate that's in the 20s or even the 30s, American Financing can show you how to put your hard-earned equity to work and get out of debt. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving their customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may not have to make your next month's mortgage payment. There's no upfront fees, so it costs nothing to find out how much you can save every month. Call American Financing today. That's 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Hey, come see us on tour in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Get your tickets at jimmydore.com. That's where they're the most affordable.